Old Trafford redevelopment plans. The fans completed a survey, the American Red Devils as season ticket holders. We were part of that survey, filled it out. Bunch of interesting questions about how fans felt about the regeneration. Do we want to knock down the stadium? Do we want to refurb the old stadium? Well, the results are in. It had the highest engagement rate of any fan research conducted by the club. I like this with INEOS.
Not
you
shocking.
know why? They're basically going to ask everybody so they can defend the decision.
Yes.
Right? So they're going to be like, the fans said they were okay with knocking it down. And ultimately, that's what the survey said. 52% declared support for a new built stadium. Redevelopment of the existing stadium was preferred by 31%, with 17% undecided, which is like, so how is a fan undecided about that?
I mean,
There weren't that many questions.
We had
do you want a new stadium?
We had an election. People were undecided like the day of. So it's like, you know, even if you're a United fan, you could be undecided about like, hey, you know, what color do they play in? So I don't get it. But hey, if you're a fan, you're like, I don't want to put my neck out either way. This is not that surprising. I actually thought it would be higher for the new build. So to be fair, I thought that number would be higher. I thought it would be more kind of convincing, like in the 60s.
Well, it is higher if you remove the 17%.
No, that's fair, because
So,
it's almost double, right? You take the 17% out, but obviously 17% is there. But either way, it's more than a majority. It's 52%. And I thought the thing was really interesting. I read some of the articles about it. The split, if you look at older fans versus newer fans, the newer fans, the younger fans were much more nostalgic about keeping Old Trafford the same or refurbishing Old Trafford, whereas the older fans who have been around for a long time are like, tear that fucker down. And I think that's probably because of like the facilities, right? If you're an older fan, you need a little bit more consideration. It's not very accommodating, right? With the fucking stairs up to up to Trafford End. And if you're a younger fan, you're probably just like nostalgic with the idea of it on a surface level. But we're not young or old. We've been, you know, United fans for 20 years now. And we've also been
longer. Unfortunately, I mean, we're getting up there.
It's around 20,
sure.
yeah. But like, also we've been going to Old Trafford for a while, and it hasn't gotten better. And especially now, the season tickets, we go every year, if not more than once a year. You can't. It's so big, and it's such a fucking mess, and they've let it rot to shit that like you have to tear it down.
No,
You have
this
to tear
is
it down. There's no choice.
like I remember as a kid going to Old Yankee Stadium, and they tore that down, and that's not nearly as bad as Old Trafford is like, because you admire from afar as the American fan. So our perspective is coming from you know, we're across the pond. You watch the team for a couple of years, and you know, my first game was in 2010, going to the Liverpool at home, and you see the state. It looks very impressive. From the outside,
In your seat, it's amazing.
And obviously in the stadium, it's great, but you assume that it's this giant structure and there's a lot of cool shit in it, right? Like just based on the facade. Like you look at the the Holy Trinity statue and you see all that glass and you think there's probably like shops and like food and all this great stuff going on the inside. There's nothing. It's just like scaffolding. Ultimately for staircases, there's nothing inside. There's never been a bigger letdown for me as a fan. Like, oh, the state, like you're going to Old Trafford. It's like unbelievable. You get there, there's nothing. It's like a facade. It's just like a facade of steel for like staircases and leaky urine troughs. There's nothing really in it.
Urine troughs.
It's like, it's like, could you ever imagine, like you look at it and you're like, they redid it, but it's just like, it looks nice from the outside, but there's nothing really in it, you know?
Well, what makes Old Trafford special? Old Trafford is special because the fans, when they're in full voice behind their club and the team, the history behind this club.
But when you went for the first time, you were like kind of surprised, kind of how
I didn't notice. It was 2007. I sat by myself. I had one ticket. I drove down from fucking Edinburgh for the day and then back. That was like one of the hardest tasks I've ever done on the wrong side of the road, wrong side of the car. I was just kind of in awe of the whole thing, and I literally like parked in the parking lot. That's how funny. I literally drove a car. But the
concessions you didn't like.
I didn't notice. I didn't notice. I didn't notice until we started going, and I wasn't in the Trafford End. I was also in like the 50-yard line. I had great seats, so maybe the concessions were a little nicer because we go to Trafford End. It's like fucking end of world, bro. It's like children of men. It's fucking brutal.
It's like I've sat in a bunch of different areas of the stadium, and it is, you do not go there for other than sitting in your seat and watching the game. You don't go there for the food. you go there straight for the football, which is fine. Like
Which is fine.
like
That's why you're there.
that's totally fine. But a team like this should have like the stadium should be a place that fans want it. Like there's more around it as well. Like there's not there's not really a lot. There's a few statues around it. There's so much history there. I just feel like as a fan, you want that experience, especially think of all the United fans around the world. It's almost like a pilgrimage. You go there, you almost think there should be like a little more on the bone for you, whether you want to go to the stadium early. Like we've been to Wembley, right? Club Wembley, like super nice, great food, stuff to do. You know, we've been club level at the Emirates, like a bunch of other stadiums in the UK. This is like akin to like QPR Stadium. Like Old Trafford is like on the same level as like QPR. You know, it's like, it should be like on the same level as like the new Tottenham Stadium or the new Arsenal Stadium. It's like we're the biggest club in the world. The new Bernabeu. Like United need a new stadium.
No, it's like going to Crystal Palace, but it holds 75,000 people, right? It's an old stadium.
Crystal Palace is worse. But yeah,
no, it is. Yeah, QPR is also worse. Come on, you're going to go back and you're going to remember.
Yeah, but like it's closer to those.
It's closer to QPR than it is to Arsenal, to the Emirates, right? You go to the Emirates, and we were at club level, and we were there before the game because City was playing, and we wanted to check it out, and the seats weren't cheap, and they were packed. It was packed with fans at club level eating and spending money, and you know what? We're not just
and
like
TVs with the other games.
Well, it's just
on,
like it should be more of a thing, and like getting to Old Trafford's a nightmare. Getting out of Old Trafford's a nightmare, and they don't have any reason to keep you around and hang out and spend money. And I don't want it just to all be about spending money and making the club money so that they can spend more on the team. But you want to enhance the experience for match-going fans, even for fans that are local. Like it could be better. And then you take into account people like us who have season tickets or people who are coming in for special occasion because they only get to go to Old Trafford once in 10 years. There's so much. It's just so much low-hanging fruit. Like it needs to be rebuilt. $2 billion will be paid back quickly. Because, like you said, it's just football, but then you can do events, you can do all kinds of shit, and it's like it just doesn't make sense that Old Trafford is what it is, given who United is as a club and institution.
No, and everybody has a different opinion on stadiums, but So when we went to the Euros and we went to the Olympic Stadium in Berlin, right? That is like a historic stadium. Right. And then they kind of revamped the inside of it, and it doesn't have all the modern amenities, but it's like such a like historic place that they obviously redid it in a certain way. Right. But like Old Trafford, it's like, there's just nothing to save. You know, like the Olympic Stadium in Berlin is like built out of stone. It has the same outside, and then it has the modern inside. Right. Like I actually thought that was really well done, really clean, old versus new. And Old Trafford's just kind of been bolted on like an erector set over time, and there's nothing to save. You know, I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to say. Like there's this new external structure, and the internal is just like melting down. So there's really nothing to save other than the pitch. And the pitch they can move. And so I think they should just take that pitch, move it to where the new stadium is, and, call it a day, tear that down, and start anew. And make a modern experience like the Tottenham Stadium, host NFL games, concerts, the whole nine, make money so we can pay off the debt, sign more players. Like the Bernabeu would be the benchmark for me. Like Real Madrid having a new amazing stadium, Manchester United should have the same, and it should be the Wembley of the North. Wembley's a nice place, but you can improve on that one as well. We've been there a couple times, and you just need to have the more modern amenities. It's just not doing it for me, unfortunately.
It's just, it's the best interest of the club. It's like to be, and also, Northern England deserves a stadium of like merit that everybody can kind of congregate to for big events. And like you said, they wanted to do this early 2000s, but right before the Glazers, they were talking about redoing Old Trafford in earnest. Glazers came in, cut everything to the bone, and that's why everything is just like, oh, let's do the outside, make it look kind of like it's fucking new age, and really they didn't do anything to the inside. So
it's leaking.
It needs to be done. It's leaking. The urinal. The bathrooms are fucking disgusting. It's always covered in urine.
No, it's like, so by the way,
charming. I mean,
like, to give you an idea of like, we fly all the way out there. We go to the games. Like we go to lunch in downtown Manchester because there's no real, like you can go to the pubs or whatever, but there's not like real good food.
There's
outside.
Like burger stands. There's like these little like stands.
Yeah, but so like,
fair.
then you go to the stadium and you're like, okay, kickoffs at like 3 or whatever. We go in at like 2. Okay, I want to grab a snack. I have to eat chips because the food's so bad.
So
by the way, there's like urine
Beer's worse.
leaking
The
out of
beer
the
is
bath.
worse.
Like the floor is wet. Like piss is leaking out of the bathroom. It's not like a great. The floor's uneven. By the way, the seats are atrociously like flimsy and close together. It's not like a great experience. It should be much better. And so that's why I'm hoping the new stadium, they can kind of sort it out. Obviously, we're in kind of the OG Trafford end. So that has something to do with it, where I'm sure they have more cushy seats for the execs and the hospitality. But at the end of the day, I think they just kind of have to up-level everything, make it so you can eat a meal there at least. Or grab like a...
How about a beer? The beer is undrinkable.
I know.
It's fucking room temperature Carling in a plastic bottle, and it's the worst beer experience I've ever seen. And it's not just about that. It's just like, it's an underutilized asset. When they change things, I remember they changed, like there'll be parts that we like a lot better. There'll be certain things we miss, and that's just life. And just like life goes on. Old Trafford needs to be rebuilt. It will be rebuilt. It will be a Goliath.
I'm excited
There'll
for
be
it.
things about it that we miss about the old stadium, but there'll be a lot of niceties that we enjoy about the new stadium. And, it'll be a little glossier. It'll be a little bit, I know some of the English fans are not going to like it because it's going to be a little bit more like global, like the club is. And they think that's like Disney World. But guess what? This is what the club needs to make money, because the more we make, the more we could spend on players. And I hate to say it, but it's as simple as that. It's just like the more we make, the more youngsters we could sign that won't pan out.
Well, here's the deal. It says right here, strongest support for new built stadium from the current season ticket holders. I mean, people will actually go to the stadium and are like, build me a new one. I think you got to go with, I think, that's why we want a new stadium, because we go. I mean, that's just part of the reason. They also said preserving history and heritage, increasing ticket availability, enhancing the atmosphere among the priorities expressed by fans in the survey. I mean, check.
Yeah. The food to get better, to get cheaper. I want us to play better. Can they do that too in the stadium?
Yeah. And this is from Richard McGaugh, the director of fan engagement. Quote, "We know how important our home is to fans, and we need to listen to them and gain all their views and insights in order to develop the world-class stadium they deserve." And a world-class club, should have a world-class stadium. More of this guy just yammering on about it. But I think this was a great step in the right direction. Fan engagement, fan survey, that is definitely INEOS. That's definitely Omar Barada. I think the results speak to the condition of the stadium and how they need to improve it. Have Sir Jimmy come sit in the Trafford end. He can sit in our seats. He'll be like, holy crap, like we got to do something about that. Like by the way, there's big lads in these seats. They are of all the sporting events I go to, baseball, hockey, they are the smallest. You are the closest to other, like it's like knees in.
Well, it's old.
Big
they're
dudes,
old.
big
Big
dudes,
boys,
knees in. But like it's
They got work to
the
do.
worst seat.
They got work to do.
Like, how, sorry, you and me
Tight.
sitting next to her, it's
Tight.
like, it's tighter.
Yeah,
You
you hope the guy next to you doesn't show up.
But
It's
like your knees are touching the seat in front of you. You're like thigh
It's
to
made
thigh.
to stand.
It's
It's
like,
basically made to stand.
no, we stand the whole time, but I'm just saying these, like, they could improve it.
It's not great. Not great. A lot of work to do. A lot of work to do.
It's beautiful.
Honestly,
beautiful
just
seats,
get some cold beer. The room temperature Carling breaks my back. I don't even bother anymore. You can't even drink in the stadium.
Well, my favorite part is the Trafford end. People like get the Carlings, put them in their jackets, and they sneak them up into the section.
Like,
Like
just
that's
like
kind of
smoke
the
butts.
slugging and
Literally just
cigs,
smoke
like,
butts.
yeah,
Like they
it's
don't
like
mind. Like,
we're with the characters, sir.
We're up
Like
high.
ARD, baby. Let us know what you think about the stadium redevelopment. Should they rebuild Old Trafford? Do you like the idea that they're sending out a survey to fans? Just let us know in the comments below. Please like, subscribe for more American Red Devils YouTube content.